Today on Faces of Florence, Mayor Teresa Myers Ervin. It was really an honor to have the opportunity to sit down with Mayor Myers Ervin. She's a true servant leader, poised to move Florence forward in big ways.
Hey, welcome. We're so glad you found us. Radio Free is a 24-hour Christian mixed radio station broadcasting right here out of Florence, South Carolina. So when you're driving around town, remember to tune it in to 92.5. And if you're outside of the Florence area, you can listen 24 hours a day at radiofree.cc.
Mayor Teresa Myers Ervin, welcome to Radio Free.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're so glad you're here, and the name of the series is Faces of Florence, and you as mayor are quite literally the face of Florence, and so we're glad to have you in here. We're glad to have a chance to get to know you. The kind of premise of this video show is simple. Just we want to get to know our neighbors here in Florence. Hard to love your neighbor unless you know them, right?
It's true.
And so we're glad that you decided that this is worth your time, and I think it's going to be great for a lot of our viewers to get to kind of know you as a person. And so usually we got a lot to talk about today, but usually we just start kind of with the basics. Where were you born and raised, and a little bit about your life, how you got to where you are now.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised right here in Florence, South Carolina. As a matter of fact, I was delivered at home by a midwife on Sumter Street, right down from you. So I'm literally a Florence native. And being raised here, of course, I was educated here. I went through Florence School District 1. I attended Florence Darlington Technical College and Francis Marion University. And needless to say, I became a registered nurse, and I've nursed right here in Florence all of my life. My nursing specialties, I've served as what we call a med-surg nurse, but we always say it was med-surg and anything that came through the door. But for over the last 30-some-odd years, I've actually been a neonatal intensive care nurse. And I do have training in such things as real estate. I'm also an ordained minister. So I have a very well-rounded career. I say it placed me in life to help a lot of people. I always sought out information. Whenever it's something I did not understand or know, I don't mind going and getting educated on it. So education is wonderful. I got mine here, so we have a good educational system, and that's my belief here.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Well, let's talk about something you said really stands out to me. You said you learned all these things so you could help people. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal, and that's the kind of thing that I am finding a lot here in Florence. Mm-hmm. And I wonder why that is, you think? Something special about Florence, and a lot of people seem to be in that lane wanting to help their neighbor. What drives that for you?
I love my hometown, and when I think about the fact of how I was raised, we always say we had family by blood and by love. So for me, we are one city, we're one family. And my father died when I was 6 years old, but my mother, like my sisters and brothers, as they raised me, I attended church. So I was that young girl who was that Girl Scout. And then I was that YWA, which is a young woman auxiliary, where you're a missionary. So I was raised up and learned that you serve people. And I always learned that the best servant leader was also Christ. So for me, being able to serve people and then get information and the knowledge so I can serve as a leader, just based on the fact of growing up in the community. And so for me, every little thing, when I didn't understand it, I wanted to understand. So for me to understand it, I had to go where the information was. So I was just naturally trained. You follow so that you can learn. When you learn, eventually you can become that leaders and others are going to follow you. But when you do that, you've got to do it in an example that you draw other people unto you. You've got to be that light. And that's literally how I was raised. So for me, this is just a natural part of life, doing things to help others, because at some point I needed help. The help was there for me. And so that's my philosophy, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Wow. The golden rule.
Yes.
And perfect, seems like you're on the perfect track for what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. What a blessing for Florence to have you in that seat. Well, let's back up a minute and talk about nursing. My mother's a nurse, my sister's a nurse. Nursing is dear to me, but in Florence, we're a medical town, up and down. Tell me a little bit about your journey to nursing. Obviously, that's a great way to help people, you know?
That's true.
But what drew you to that? You have some medical stuff in your family, or?
Well, my story of becoming a nurse is quite different. I knew medical professionals, but for me, I was in ROTC, Air Force ROTC. I was going to the Air Force. That was my track.
Okay.
And my mother told me, I think it was about my junior year, she sat me down, encouraged me not to go to the military because at that phase she felt like it was not a place for a young lady. And she said, I had my uncles and cousins who had served, and for me, I was like, I wanted to go. My sister came and she spoke to me, and they said, well, Teresa, try nursing. Being the smart teenager I was, I knew that if I became a nurse, I could go into the Air Force with a higher ranking. So it was my goal, okay, I'll show Mom. I'll become that nurse, but then she'll understand why I needed to go to the Air Force. Needless to say, Mom was right. I became that nurse, and I got so involved in my career and learning and getting different degrees that nursing became my focus. But it gave me the opportunity to still serve. Yeah. And seeing the Air Force, I saw the different things, and by coming up through the West Florence Air Force ROTC, I understood the leadership process, and I loved that. And I saw the things I could do in the Air Force, but when I got into nursing, I could do those things on a different manner. Yeah. So I loved my nursing career. I love helping people, and you have to learn so much in nursing that you're continuously learning. So I fell in love with nursing, and I'm still a nurse today.
That's so great. And you still practice?
I still practice. I told I said about retirement. I said, well, I don't see retirement anytime soon because as a nurse, I can nurse part-time, and I love what I do. Yeah. So for me, either way, when you're a nurse, you have that. You don't have to be a bedside nurse. You can have that information where you're continually educating people. Right. How can you improve your health? So I love nursing, so I don't see any retirement anytime soon.
Well, that's good. And I'm guessing that bleeds over into your political career as well. Tell me, maybe tie in how nursing, how that impacts your day-to-day as mayor.
Well, I want people to picture this. As a nurse, when we go in, we work as a part of a team, and it's our goal to provide life-saving care to our clients. So for me as a mayor, I look at the fact that I go in, I work as a part of a team, which is the city council, but also our city management, but also the citizens. And our client is the City of Florence. So I look at nursing. We pull different branches in to provide the services. With the different services and individuals we have here in Florence, I need to bring them together so we can better serve our client, the City of Florence, because we need Florence for all of us to survive. So that's how I pull that together.
So the leadership that you love and are so good at, and then the team building so that everyone can get the care and love that they need. Wow, that's amazing.
Well, because we have a lot of potential here in Florence, but we have a lot of professionals. We have a lot of knowledge here. We have the educational base here, and like you said, we have the health care, and we have economic growth. So we just need to pull all these things together so that we can be more effective in in everything that we do. So we have our specialties, but how can we all come together to utilize that and make it more effective? And that is one of my goals.
Well, let's talk about that then a little bit. What are some of the things you're working on right now that maybe are challenges for you in your new role?
Rather than challenges, I would say opportunities.
There you go.
And we have opportunities. There are things that we have not tapped into yet that we can tap into. There are things that we're doing that we can be better at. As you know, we're coming out of COVID, and there was some major effect on our economic development when it comes to our businesses. So we have actually utilized CARE money to help our businesses, but more at today's date, what I've done and what I'm doing is attending a lot of the business functions so I can hear what the business community is saying, and that's really important for us. We have an excellent city management staff, which is the Florence Downtown Development Management Office, who have tied in with the businesses in the Florence area and did things to take some of the burdens off of them, such as the city's doing more of the advertisement through the Downtown Development Office. So taking care of our businesses. But also during the course of this, the CARE Act money, we took it and gave it to some of the agencies that provided service, such as to the homeless, also for providing meals. So we're doing that. And I'm building a better relationship with our Florence School District 1 and we are working to improve our relationship with our county as well. So I tell people, even though COVID was here, there was opportunities that we could not literally be with each other all the time. But we used this year as a planning and network year so that we can see what we have in place and how can we improve it. So right now we're strategizing, we're maintaining what we've been doing, but we're strategizing and planning so that we can do better.
That's exciting. It sounds like this is going to be a good year as things start opening back up.
Yeah.
Let's talk for a minute about the historical aspect of you being mayor. You are the first female mayor of Florence, South Carolina. You're the first African American mayor of Florence, South Carolina. That's huge. And what an honor, you know? And let's talk about maybe what you feel like is your I don't want to say responsibility, but you're carrying a lot coming into this thing. I know you've got to be super proud of that, but there's got to be still some challenges. You know, anything like this that's been around for a long time. Some of these, these pushbacks.
Right.
You're still. I imagine you still are having to push forward a little bit. Tell me a little bit about that.
You know, I smile because when I think about it, in the process of it, when I was running for the office, for me, my thought was, I would be someone that the city's never had before. Will the citizens support me based on the fact that I had the most experience, that I have shown productivity as a city councilwoman? It was important that people see who Teresa was, what Teresa has done. And I believe that if the citizens could see what I've done and learn me, that they would see that I would be the best candidate to continue to lead the city because I had been a part of the leadership since 2010. So I was not new to the leadership.
Right.
I had been actually doing the work, and for our former mayor, we had a good working relationship, and I enjoyed that. We had a council that we didn't always agree, but we were able to come together to still do what was best for this city. So for me, those are the things that I processed while I was running. And there was a lot of factors against me. There were some who counted me out even before I even got started good. But on that night, when I led in the primary, then wanting to run off and got to November and I won, that was confirmation for me that our city is a inclusive city, that our city looked at the person for truly who they are and what they could do and what they've done. So for me, I saw that as our city moving forward. And right now, it really does not have so much of an effect on me because I always tell everyone I've been black all my life and I've been a woman all my life. So to me, this is just Teresa being Teresa.
Right.
And I believe that from my being elected, that should also show especially our younger people, that Florence looks at the person who you are and what you can do. So that's what's really significant for me because I believe this speaks out for our city.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. Who is Florence as a city? And for me, this says Florence is a city that will come together, will work together, and wants what's best for the city. That's what it signifies for me.
Well, that's good news. And that's the kind of leadership that I think is so important, especially right now in this time in history. Let's talk a little bit about race relations in Florence. We've had, I have like mentioned before we got going, Chris Hanley was in here helping Florence flourish. And I was just curious about what you see as some of the challenges there. One thing I noticed, this is pre-COVID when all the downtown activities were happening, the Friday after 5 and those type things. There was such a diverse crowd. And even the music and the interactions, it was just beautiful. And I'm hoping that that's going to be the course forward.
Yes.
But what are some of the challenges there, you think? How do you feel like we're doing in that area?
Just like you said, pre-COVID, we got that base together and we was moving forward. And just when you stated about Pastor Chris, one of the great things about helping Florence flourish, I was serving on the city council when it got started. I actually had the opportunity to go to some of the training. And for me as a city, the most important thing that we can do is reach across the table. You and I, we're opposite in various ways, but we're still human.
That's right.
And we need to get to learn each other. So as a city, we need to provide those opportunities for people to be able to come together. And the Florence After 5 events was just one of the events that drew people together. And I'm very proud to see a lot of our young people doing activities that now cross across lines. And when it comes to our churches, more of our churches are fellowshipping together across lines. So what it's going to take for us, the city, to do this, we have got to be purposeful in our action. We cannot leave it to chance. We have to continue to create events that is diverse and inclusive. And we have got to do it as a city to make those things possible. And I'm committed to continuing to do that.
You feel good about it? You feel like the it's in the air that we're moving that way? It's been a weird year for sure. But do you feel like that the momentum is heading that direction?
I believe so. And our race relations will improve when each of us take responsibility. It's not just going to happen. We're going to have to be purposefully in our action.
Yeah.
We have got to be willing to talk, and we cannot just hide it away. We know there's a race issue. So, okay, it's an issue. What do we do about it?
Right.
And that's the nursing me. You know, I tell, it does not matter what the issue is. What is the issue? You have got to identify it. Once you identify the issue, then you can work on it. And you have to be open and honest. And don't be ashamed of your thoughts. Share them, because that's a part of improving things. Because, you know, my children used to laugh at, that was my quote. I said, remember, for me as a person, this is what I know. So when I know it, I'm right till you prove me wrong. Once you prove me wrong and help me to understand why, then it's up to me to move forward and do better.
Yeah.
So the old saying, when you know better, you do better. So the only way we can do better, we've got to talk so we can understand each other and then improve from there. Because there'll be some things that, you know, we may think about race or this and that, and we find it's not true. And kind of like, oh, we have that aha moment.
Right.
And so it's up to us and the ones who among us who want to do that improvement. The citizens have got to do that. It's not something the government can do. It's the citizens. And we look at race, and you always hear that when it comes to it, you know, we live in a society that has always been predominantly male-dominated and also predominantly dominated by the white male. So for me, it's up to the white males especially to get involved with making these improvements.
Yeah.
And that's just an honest statement. I think that we should state that and understand it, okay, and work from there.
Yeah.
Work
Absolutely.
from it.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thought. And it seems like you've got a real good vision going forward for that. Let's talk about the future now. What do you hope to accomplish by the end of your first term?
Okay. You know, I smile. I think back to the fact that we have worked on so much and have accomplished so much working with the team that we're right now, I want to see us to continue to expand our downtown area and to continue to expand our community development. And an important part about that is the economic development as well. Because I really don't care what city you have. If you do not have businesses there that produces income, that provide jobs and decent places to live, you don't have a strong city.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when you have those things, which we do have, then we can expand. So what I want to do is see that we continue to improve the housing stock that we have here within the city, so people will have livable homes. So when people want to return to Florence or people want to stay in Florence, to have a decent place to live. But the downtown piece ties in because all of our original community surrounds the downtown area, and they will walk down there to get various entertainment. We'll soon have a grocery store, which will be one of the first.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I worked with the present young man who will be owning it for years. And I want to make sure that during my term, and it should be very soon, that will be completed, which will provide fresh food for individuals in our Florence area. So I want to continue that development. We have a wide variety right now of restaurants that's downtown. So looking at things we can continue to strengthen our downtown with. We will be building soon a parking deck, which will provide more parking, so we'll have that completed. We're working on new homes. We have some new developers who will be coming in to expand the downtown livability with homes. So we will accomplish that. And I want to continue to strengthen our healthcare community because we have 2 large healthcare providers and then a clinic which provides a lot of service as well. We have the healthcare education here, and there is the possibility of something that's going to expand that, and I'm hoping to see that completed during my term.
Oh, it's exciting.
So yes, we have so many wonderful things that's being developed and are taking place, and I'll just say it like this: watch for the next couple of years, and you'll see the productivity of not only my leadership, but the leadership of the Florence City Council and our city management staff. We are a team. So for me, for us to get anything done, we've got to do it together.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful, such a positive outlook, and it's exciting. Well, let's end up with this. How can we, as citizens, all of us watching this, and just people who live in Florence and who care about Florence, how can we get behind you? How can we help you do your job well?
Okay. Well, one of the things I've started is the Citizen Roundtable, and right now we're doing small group because of COVID. And the purpose of the roundtable for me is to bring our citizens together so they can be heard. So I want to know, I tell people there are things that the government can do and things that the government cannot do. But by sitting down, talking to my citizens, letting them tell me what is it that they see needs to be done. But more importantly, I tell them, when you come talk to me, if you bring an issue, bring a solution. And that's how we get it done. So when we as citizens have issues, think of that solution and bring it with you, because that is a part of team building, and that is how we help the city. I see an issue, well, what can be done about it? So, I don't have all the answers. I believe that all of us have part of the answers.
There you go.
And when we come together, we will solve whatever the challenge or potential issue there. So it's here, but we have got to come together to work together, not just complaining, but solving. That's how the citizens can help me. Plan to come to the round tables, bring me the issues, but bring me the solutions as well. So that is how we're going to do this. We've got to do it together.
Excellent. Well, we will put information about those roundtables. I'll get that from you,
Sure.
and we'll put it along with this video so people can be a part of that.
I appreciate it.
Well, Mayor Teresa Myers Ervin, thank you so much for being a part of Faces Florence today.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here so that I can show my face to the faces of Florence. I appreciate it. And to you, thank you. You are a wonderful host, and I appreciate speaking with you today.